Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a little video explaining about why we source in India and what the reason is for that sourcing strategy. I speak to a lot of people and brands, and there's this idea that if you source in the Far East that you are looking to make mass profits and make it as cheaply as possible and maybe exploit the supply chains that's out there to maximize your profits over here, that kind of thing. So I wanted to talk through the process that I've been through and why we've ended up sourcing in India. So for the beginning process, we chose to look at a dual sourcing program. So we looked at sourcing in the UK as well as sourcing in the Far East and doing it as a joint opportunity. When we started looking at the UK, we came across some major hurdles. So first of all is fabric. So we're looking at very specialist waterproof breathable fabrics. The UK is very limited in its technology now. It doesn't really offer that level of performance. Most of the really good fabrics are largely made out in the Far East, in Taiwan, South Korea, that kind of area. There is still some in Europe, but you're looking at, anywhere around €30 a metre, which when you think you need 4 to 6 metres for a rug, depending whether it's got a neck or not, that is looking like your 120 to €180 for fabric alone. That's before you've put any trims on it, any insulation, any lining, sewn it, shipped it, etc. So as you can see, your costs are just becoming unbearably high. The rug would have to retail at sort of £800-900 for you to get anywhere near making any money out of it. I don't know, I never actually got to that point, so we never fully costed it out, but you would be looking at maybe €400 or €500. We were quoted from one factory in the UK £110 per rug to make the rug, and then you, on top of that, you're adding the cost of materials in there. There's another opportunity where you can say, well, we can ship the fabric from the Far East all the way to the UK and look at that as an option because the material costs are cheaper, but shipping fabric in rolls in containers doesn't work. The containers, like boxes, and fabrics don't come in nice little square boxes, so the cost of actually shipping fabric across the world is just exorbitant. And not only that, it's just not logistically possible. It takes too long. It's not very environmentally friendly to be shipping fabric that far. So yeah, as you can see, you come up across some issues, and sadly, especially in the UK, there's still definitely more skills available in Europe, especially in the Portuguese region of Porto, but the skills to actually sew and make the products is difficult. So we looked at a factory, they made us a sample. Say I think they were looking at maybe £90 to £100 per rug just to sew it. So you're not even looking at the cost of the materials involved in that, and the quality was fairly poor, unfortunately. Not for, no disrespect to the factory, they make really high-end good jackets, but they're not used to horse rugs, they don't understand the product, they just didn't have any experience. It was going to take a lot of work to get them anywhere near where the quality and the standard that we would want. So then we were dual sourcing in India at the same time. As I say, my background is working in the fashion industry. I used to work with waterproof breathable fabrics, producing jackets for the apparel industry, and I had a lot of networks in terms of fabric mills out in the Far East. They were able to develop the fabric very quickly for us, and it was perfect. The garment mill in India that we found happened to know the fabric mill. They had a good relationship, so that became an easy win for us. It made the transition seamless. So what is sourcing in India look like? All of our factories are what we call either SEDEX or BSCI approved. These are independent authorities, organisations who audit what they call unannounced. So to get through one of their audits. They will tell you you've got sort of a 30-day window, but they will turn up in any given day at any time and check your factory. So they check that the workers are well cared for, that the environment is nice. The BSCI looks at your environmental impact as well as your sort of social and ethical policies. They make sure that the workers are safe, that they have good breaks, that all their records, all their payments and everything is up to date. So the workers are really well cared for. And when I was out in India, they was explaining to me the process about how staff are regulated, how the government regulates them. So the way they have to sign in every day and the way it relates back to who gets paid, it ensures that there's no child labour in the factories, that kind of thing. So it all relates that back to their national identity cards, that kind of thing, so that you can't put an underage worker in a factory. If you were caught with an underage worker in a factory, there's big penalties. Apparently no business do it in India because it's not worth the risk of getting caught, or if you're using reputable businesses, should I say. So for me, it was really, really important that I went to see the factories. I wanted to understand how they worked. I wanted to see the conditions. I wanted to see the people. I just needed that to be comfortable. I've worked extensively in the Far East, so I know what a good factory looks like. And I was really, really happy with all the factories we went to see. We went to the factory that's currently making the rug. We went to their new factory, and it's beautiful, and it's really clean and it's really well organised, and the people seemed really happy. So I really couldn't complain about that. Their quality is amazing. They're both SEDEX and BSCI approved. We went and visited some new factories. We looked around. Again, it's always really clean, it's tidy. The staff seem happy, working well. So I was really happy with the factories that we've picked, the factories that we're choosing to work with. As I say, we go down this sort of at the very bare minimum SEDEX. BSCI is a bit of a higher level because it takes the environmental impact in as well, but we are hoping that most factories are going down that route. It's very expensive for them to get that accreditation, so it's not something they do lightly. But also it's, even though we're manufacturing in India, it's not cheap. I don't think anybody should think that this is about making cheap product. They are skilled, they're very good at what they do, they invest in their staff, they're looking to build a sustainable workforce. All of that takes time and effort and money and investment, and that comes out in the product. And if you want quality products and you want to build good business relationships with these factories, then you pay good prices. We don't pay cheap prices to get cheap rugs. That's not what we're doing. We're looking to build long-term working relationships and partnerships with factories who care about what they do, and they care about the quality, and they care about their environmental impact as well as their sort of social and ethical impact. So I just kind of wanted to explain that a little bit. I think it's always a bit of a mystery as to what manufacturing in the Far East looks like, and there's always a bit of a stigma about it, about like it's exploitative or cheap, or I don't know, that it's to take advantage and benefit from. But actually it's not. The trade between the two countries is necessary and required. They need the business, we need the product. There's definitely a two-way street there to be considered, and then accounting for the lack of opportunity and whether it's commercially viable to manufacture in the UK and Europe is it means it's very difficult to do it in this country. I think if you're making jackets and you're not using such vast amounts of fabric like you are on horse rugs, maybe there are more opportunities for businesses like that in this country. But again, you would probably be looking at sort of £400 or £500 for jackets that are manufactured in Europe or the UK if they're really high-end quality. I follow a couple of jacket factories that do that. So I just wanted to kind of explain what we're doing and why we're doing it, and to give some people some insight into what it's like to manufacture abroad and ship it all in, which is another whole ball game, freight and shipping. But we won't dwell on that. Okay, thanks for listening.